is sweet and sour, and it quickly becomes clear why such stuffed
Yeah, no thanks, I'm American. What's up YouTube, I'm JJ Thomas and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're going to be checking out 25 Polish foods you need to try. I myself have been to Poland. I haven't really got much experience as of trying Polish food, dare say. I remember trying their dumplings before. I think it's called Pierogi. To all the Polish people that's watching this channel, if I'm saying it wrong, I'm so sorry. You know, Dzień dobry. Morning time for me. But yeah, we're gonna be checking out some, you know, weird food that you guys eat over there. I'm pretty sure it's good, but you know, I'm American. You know how us Americans eat over here. But I would say Polish people, y'all be eating healthy over there, man, because I remember I ate KFC over there and I just felt even more healthier. It's like y'all products are like more organic, I would say. So this should be a good video. If you guys want more stuff like this, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications if you want more stuff from this channel. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to it.
Do you have a hankering for some sausage, cabbage, or a pastry that resembles the mountains of Central Europe?
I don't mind.
It sounds like you're in the mood for some Polish cuisine. Here's what you should try. Cabbage grows abundantly in Poland's cool weather, along with the likes of beets, carrots, and potatoes. Add to that the fact that one of their cuisine's
Also, I heard that Polish people love potatoes. Is that a true thing? Do y'all actually worship potatoes over there?
Traditional flavor combinations is sweet and sour, and it quickly becomes clear why such stuffed
Yeah, no thanks, I'm American.
cabbage is such a popular and ubiquitous dish. Same goes for rolled cabbage, or gołąbki, as it's known in the Polish language. Stuffed cabbage rolls are filled with any kind of chopped meat, usually pork, mixed with rice, which is a great way to stretch a relatively small amount of meat into a meal for a whole family. The mixture is seasoned with garlic and paprika before being rolled in cooked cabbage leaves. The rolls are served in a tomato-based sauce that features both sweet and sour flavors. One potential recipe you can try uses a sprinkle of brown sugar and a spoonful of lemon juice to achieve that perfect flavor balance. Bigos is a meat-based stew with sauerkraut, potatoes, bacon, and kielbasa, a Polish sausage that we'll be discussing in more detail in a little bit. It's also one of those dishes.
I honestly don't know what to say about this. Yo, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this, man, because this is just, to me, it doesn't look edible.
That mirrors Poland's cultural and geographical evolution. While bigos is so closely associated with Poland that it's often been called the country's national dish, its inclusion of sauerkraut would appear to indicate a German influence. Either way, that sauerkraut, like the rice and rolled cabbage, is a great way to stretch out a small amount of meat for a hungry family or other large group. As noted by Taste Atlas, Polish cuisine prides itself in hearty and comforting dishes, and bigos has been present in the Polish culinary tradition since the 17th century. A number of Polish recipes suggest that bigos preparation should begin at least 2 days before it is to be eaten, so that it can be cooked.
So, y'all literally taking 3 days just to cook this dish? That's some wild stuff.
Once and then reheated twice more, presumably to deepen the flavor. Furthermore, during the long cooking process, it's a good idea to dilute the bigos with wine, and traditionally, one accompanies bigos with a shot of Polish vodka. A pierog refers to a dumpling of Polish.
Before we get to the pierogi, if I say it wrong, I'm sorry. Y'all Polish vodka is really strong. I don't know what y'all be putting inside there. I drink like 2 cups of, like 2 of these, I'm already drunk as hell. I don't know what y'all be putting in this vodka, but it's a different beast over there.
A pierog refers to a dumpling of Polish origin that can be filled with almost anything, whether it's meat, kashi, vegetables, cheese, or even sweets like fruit and chocolate. Pierogi is actually the plural form, which is why you'll never see us putting an S at the end of the word. Apart from the spelling challenge that it offers to English speakers,
That actually looks
pierogi
really good,
is,
though.
as noted by CNN, undoubtedly Poland's most famous and simple comfort food.
It's
From
really
street
good.
food spots to fancy restaurants, they can be found pretty much everywhere in Poland. Although pierogi is a dish closely associated with Poland, it may also have Russian roots as well, which makes sense when you consider the extended Soviet occupation of Poland. You may already be familiar with pierogi as they are very popular not only in Poland, but in the United States as well. So you can probably already order them up from your favorite delivery app, or you can find a simple recipe and
I really
prepare a
ate
batch yourself.
Dumplings and
Daj Florencie pierog.
If you're getting serious about your relationship with a Polish significant other and you get invited to dinner with your potential future in-laws, you'd better hope that the Polish soup Czernina isn't on the menu. If you
what the fuck is this? Dog, this looks like it came out of the toilet. Again, Polish people, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but this looks like it came straight out the toilet.
are in fact served Czernina, you should take it as a hint that your relationship is on the road to nowhere. While there are certainly easier ways to give a
what did
soup,
you say?
you better hope that the Polish soup Czernina isn't on the menu. If you are in fact served Czernina, you should take it as a hint that your relationship is on the road to nowhere. While there are certainly easier ways to give a suitor the slip, there are few that are quite so delicious as Czernina. It's a thick, creamy soup made from duck blood that's drained
What the
straight from the
hell?
duck and then placed in vinegar so as to prevent coagulation. Like stuffed cabbage rolls, Czernina has a sweet and sour flavor, in this case from a combination of vinegar and dried fruits like prunes. The name Czernina refers to the color of the soup, which is black thanks to all that blood. According to Gastro Obscura, thick, creamy, and iron-rich, this black soup might be worth risking rejection. Kaszanka is a blood sausage made from a mixture of buckwheat groats, pig's blood, and various parts of the pig that would otherwise be tossed into the garbage as offal, including the intestines, which are used to encase.
Yo, why that pig looks... Yo, what's up with this pig, man? He looks so lost, bro. Like he just gave up on life. He knows he's about to be cooked.
This popular Polish delicacy. Kaszanka is also sometimes called kiszkas in certain parts of the
It
world.
looks like shit.
According to the August Escoffier School of Culinary Arts, blood actually holds an esteemed place in Polish cuisine and other culinary cultures, as it adds not only a deep color but also a richness to many dishes. The Escoffier School actually doesn't specifically mention Kaszanka in this context, but Kaszanka nonetheless represents an admirable use of blood in cooking. Rather,
No.
it's more likely that Kaszanka is considered a peasant dish. It is, after all, made from the lower parts of the pig, plus buckwheat to stretch those parts out even further.
Jesus.
Kolaczki are light pastries that
Oh,
some might
these
consider
look good.
cookies. They have a sweet fruit filling and are sprinkled with powdered sugar. According to Tony Clary, an American who has spent 23 years living and working near Warsaw, Poland, they're usually prepared around holidays or weddings, and they sit out on a table or counter so that sweets are handy for coffee or tea. But why wait for once a year to enjoy this cream
Yeah,
cheese
this
and rich
actually looks pretty
pastry that
good.
Clary believes came about thanks to Polish-Ukrainian-Jewish interaction? As with a number of other dishes on this roundup of fabulous Polish foods, Kolaczki is beloved in Poland and recognizes no borders, as it also boasts fans in Russia, Austria, the Czech Republic, and Denmark, among
Okay.
others. You may already be familiar with a variation known as
Yeah, this
ragaluk,
actually looks
which
edible.
is a tradition on
I'll
the
try it.
tables of Jewish people who can trace their roots to Central and/or Eastern Europe. However, while ragaluk refers to a horn-shaped pastry, Kolaczki are meant to resemble a flower in bloom. And while Kolaczki is always stuffed with fruit, ragaluk may be filled with nuts, raisins, or seeds.
Nah, I just keep the fruit,
You
bro.
might not associate Poland with cheese making, but once you taste Oscypek, a wonderful smoked cheese made from salted sheep's milk, it's unlikely you'll ever forget that Poland is the only place in the world where this particular cheese is made.
Really?
Specifically, Oscypek is produced solely in Poland's Tatra Mountains, and even more specifically, it's made only by Górale, who are traditional shepherds and Tatra
Oh, wow.
cheesemakers.
I didn't even know that.
Nevertheless, you'll likely be able to find Oscypek almost everywhere in the country. Oscypek is typically served grilled in order to highlight the hardness of its rind and the tenderness of its interior. Because it's often served with cranberry jam as a condiment, it might call to mind brie, but once you taste it, you'll never get Oscypek confused with that French-based aged wheel of cheese.
It's wheel of cheese!
Silesian kluski refers to a soft, unfilled dumpling made with potato that may call to mind Italian gnocchi and German spätzle. It's also worth noting that the word kluski, without the Silesian prefix, can also refer to certain kinds of soup noodles.
Yo, this kind of looks like scrambled eggs with just, I don't know, like seasoning, like leaves around it or something like that. It looks like scrambled eggs.
Silesia itself is a historical subdivision of southwestern Poland that also crosses into the Czech Republic and Germany. Silesian kluski bears a strong physical resemblance to Italian potato gnocchi. However, Silesian kluski is flattened and has an indentation on one side. As you might surmise, that indentation is there to help the dumpling cook faster. And also, according to Lois Britton, the blogger behind Polish Housewife, the shape is a wonderful repository for whatever topping is paired with the dumpling. It has been said on many occasions that there is no dessert that's associated with the United States as much as apple pie. Hot dogs might run a close second, even though they're not typically a dessert, although the two have recently been working quite harmoniously together in Guy Fieri's apple pie hot dog recipe. But here's a fun fact that comes to us.
Nigga, what?
They're not typically a dessert, although the two have recently been working quite harmoniously together in Guy Fieri's apple pie.
Alright, man, y'all need to stop that shit, bro, cause what's up with y'all niggas up there mixing shit together? I can't even fucking talk. What's up with y'all mixing shit together? I heard that y'all eat corn and salami and fucking, what was it, anchovies on top of a pizza? Come on, what is this shit?
Hot dog recipe. But here's a fun fact that comes to us from Tony Clary. The Polish apple-filled pastry known as Szarlotka is basically the apple pie that Americans are used to. In fact, just like apple pie, Szarlotka is often served with ice cream. So when you hear Szarlotka, think apple pie. And don't think of Charlotte Russe, as you might be inclined to do so, considering that Szarlotka certainly sounds like it would be related to that ladyfingers and custard-based trifle. Charlotte Russe is considered a French dessert, despite its moniker, which is believed to be a call-out to Russian Tsar Alexander I. Meanwhile, the Polish Szarlotka would probably prefer that you not associate it in any way with Russia. Another food that some consider to be Poland's national dish is Schabowy. The word Schabowy means chop in Polish, which makes sense when you learn that this dish is a boneless pork chop that's been pounded thin and then coated with egg, breadcrumbs, and flour before being fried to crispy perfection in hot oil. Schabowy is sometimes referred to as cutlets Schabowy, and this may be for the purpose of highlighting that it's supposed to be made with a pork chop cutlet instead of an on-the-bone chop. Schabowy is traditionally served with potatoes and cabbage, although it may also be served with grated beetroot or sauerkraut. If Schabowy looks somewhat familiar to you, it may be because it reminds you of schnitzel, another pounded cutlet of meat that is battered and fried. Schnitzel tends to be a bit more commonly known in the US, particularly in areas with a significant history of German immigration. As noted by the blog Tasting Poland,
Bro, what in the actual fuck? Bro, I don't even need to know what this is. I'm not eating that shit. I don't care what's in it. I don't care if it's seasoned. I don't even give a damn. It got pickles inside. You got pickles and I think that's damn like, what the fuck is this? What is this shit? Y'all just mixing shit together. Y'all just call it a meal. What is this? I'm sorry to all my Polish viewers, man, but holy fuck.
Although Polish cuisine seems to have an inclination towards time-consuming and laborious recipes, there are also some Polish foods that are both tasty and simple and fast to prepare. One such example of the latter is the traditional soup known as ogórkowa, which means cucumber soup. It is sometimes known as sour cucumber soup or Polish pickle soup, as it's made with many of the ingredients that are associated with the preparation of sour pickles, like cucumbers, garlic, bay leaves, and peppercorns. As Poland.travel noted in its roundup of the 7 meals anyone traveling to Poland should try, nothing warms up the belly like the Polish cucumber soup. It is a consistent and tasty dish with lots of ingredients like bacon, sour pickled cucumbers, leek, carrots, celery, pepper, parsnip, and many more. Another reason for Ogórkowa's popularity is that it stores well, which means it can be prepared ahead of time and heated up as needed. Thick, white, enriched with kielbasa and garnished with hard-cooked egg, Żurek is a classic Polish soup that gets its deep sour tang from fermented rye flour. According to CNN, it's the perfect Polish comfort food, and it's considered a—
Did y'all put that shit inside of a bread? How does that hold up? Don't it get soggy at the bottom or anything?
bit of a national treasure.
That's high praise.
Indeed, Żurek is a winter soup favorite of Tony Clary, who was raised in the Boston area before he spent 23 years living and working in Poland. He considers Żurek to be absolutely delicious, and he tells Mashed that it makes for a hearty starter to cold weather meals. Clary also notes that Żurek is often mistaken for another thick white soup, known as Bialy borscht. However, Bialy borscht gets its sour tang from fermented wheat flour rather than from rye. Furthermore, as Clary describes it, Żurek is a soup that's both thick and hearty, which stands in contrast to the lighter Bialy borscht. Bialy borscht is a tasty Polish soup typically eaten on Easter morning. It contains sausage, eggs, potatoes, and other ingredients that contain a significant amount of religious symbolism. Thick and white and garnished with a hard-cooked egg, Bialy borscht is also known as Polish white borscht, and could easily be confused for our previous selection of Żurek. In fact, some people will use the term Żurek and Bialy borscht as if they are interchangeable. However, as previously noted, Żurek gets its sour flavor from fermented rye flour, whereas Bialy borscht gets its sour flavor from fermented wheat flour. In addition, Bialy borscht has more of a spring soup feel, as opposed to a hearty consistency that's more appropriate for colder weather. And that may help explain why it is that Żurek is associated with winter holidays, whereas Bialy borscht is associated with Easter.
No, thank you, Easter Bunny. Buck, buck.
The word borscht refers to a category of soups, and there are hundreds of them, which feature well-simmered beetroot as their fundamental
That bread actually looks good. I'll eat this side, but I'm not sure if I want to eat this though.
ingredient. The particular borscht, known as Barszcz czerwony, is distinguishable from other borschts by its authentic beet red color, its clean consistency, and the fact that it's almost transparent.
I seen this before. I seen this before. When I went to Poland a couple years ago, I actually seen this before. I can't remember where, but even still, I think that's supposed to be wine or something like that. That's in there, or is it like? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about here. Let me shut up.
Essentially, compared to most other borscht, Barszcz czerwony is more brothy than stewy, which means that the beet flavor really shines through. Although Barszcz czerwony can be served in a bowl,
so it's beet
some
juice.
people prefer to serve and consume it drink style, from clear glassware or mugs. It's also often adorned with dill or other fresh green herbs, and sometimes with a bit of sour cream. And for many Polish families, Barszcz czerwony is a long-standing Christmas Eve tradition.
Maybe it'll be like the new Christmas tradition.
When the topic of summer soups comes up in America, our minds tend to go immediately to brightly colored gazpachos or lightly spiced broth-based vegetable soups like minestrone or summer vegetable. What we don't tend to conjure up at this time of year is images of thick and creamy soups. But over in Poland, one of the most popular and classic summer soups
That little poisonous as fuck. What am I supposed to do with this?
is a creamy type of borscht that's served cold. It's commonly referred to as Chlodnik, although that term is also used to refer generally to any number of cold summer soups. The style of Chlodnik that refers specifically to creamy cold borscht starts with simmered beets. Then the resulting dark red beet broth is blended with cucumbers, radishes, and milk products, including yogurt, kefir, or sour cream. As described by Taste Atlas, the result is a refreshing, vibrant pink soup that ideally soothes the heat. Like Zurich, Chlodnik is also garnished with hard-cooked eggs. And like other borscht, it may also be garnished with dill, and it can occasionally also include meat. In Polish, the word kielbasa refers generically to all Polish sausage, of which there are many varieties. These include Bialy kielbasa, which is a white uncured sausage with a strong hit of marjoram in its flavor profile,
No thanks, I'm American.
Cabbage, which is closer to a Slim Jim than what you might typically think of as sausage, and Wędzona, which is a smoked pork sausage that's been cured with garlic, sugar, and salt. Wędzona kielbasa is dark red with a shiny, wrinkly exterior. If it looks familiar to you, it's probably because it's usually the variety that's sold in American supermarkets as Polska kielbasa. This type of kielbasa has a strong, garlicky flavor profile and often comes in a horseshoe shape, fully cooked and ready to be eaten right out of the package.
Weird. The skin looks so weird.
As we just mentioned, in Poland, the word kielbasa refers to any variety of Polish sausage, and there's definitely more than one type of Polish sausage. We've also just established that the one known as Wędzona is generally the variety that's sold as Polska kielbasa in American supermarkets, even if the label doesn't say Wędzona. But there's another variety of kielbasa that you really need to try, and that is cabanossi. Cabanossi is sometimes referred to as a hunter's sausage. That means, according to the S. Clyde Weaver blog, it's more like what you'd think of as a meat snack stick rather than sausage you'd serve.
So it's basically almost like a Slim Jim then, basically. Because look how thin this thing is.
As part of a meal. Just like the red, wrinkly, horseshoe-shaped Wędzona kielbasa, cabanossi is also ready to eat right out of the package. Furthermore, it's also shelf-stable since it's smoked and dried.
Edible.
Kasza is the Russian word for porridge, which is a cereal made by cooking hulled, crushed grains in a liquid such as water or milk. The Polish version of kasza is kasza, which is pronounced the same but spelled with a Z instead of an H. Polish kasza is made from the hulled seeds of the buckwheat plant, which isn't actually a grain at all. Nevertheless, hulled buckwheat seeds cook up into porridge the way wheat and other grains do. They're often referred to as buckwheat groats, and they're a good source of protein and antioxidants. When buckwheat groats are toasted first, they deliver what can be considered a rich and nutty flavor. Polish kasza is the resulting porridge made from cooking buckwheat groats, and it can be used for both sweet and savory dishes.
I mean, it looks pretty healthy.
And when prepared with mushrooms and onions, kasza is a popular Polish breakfast.
You know, I was going to say that looks healthy, I eat that, but once you said you put mushrooms in that shit, never mind.
Food.
Fuck it.
Beef stroganoff is yet another example.
Oh, Jesus.
Of a Polish food that has strong cultural ties to another country.
Beef stroganoff, isn't that getting a little loose with the language?
In this case, that country is Russia, which occupied Poland for many years. The generally accepted history of this particular dish is that a French chef in the employ of a rich St. Petersburg family created it for a cooking contest in 1891. The custom of the day was to name the prize-winning dish after his employer, who was a man by the name Stroganoff. What most people think of as beef stroganoff is essentially the dish that came out of that contest. It's comprised of thin strips of beet, apparently thin enough to be chewed by the dentally challenged Mr. Stroganoff. Those strips have been slow-cooked with mushrooms and onions and a thick sour cream sauce.
No, thank you.
By contrast, Polish beef stroganoff has a thinner sauce and makes use of tomatoes. And in keeping with the Polish preference for sour tastes, classic Polish beef stroganoff also gets a hit of sour tang from dill pickles.
Yep,
the word Golanka means knuckle in Polish. When used in the context of Polish cuisine, Golanka refers to a hearty dish made by slow braising a cut of meat known as pork knuckle. The word knuckle may conjure images of fingers and joints spoiling for a fight, but in the case of pork knuckle, it actually refers to the meaty.
I was about to say, so y'all eating pig knuckles? I didn't even know pigs had knuckles.
The upper part of the pig's leg. Pork knuckle is sometimes referred to as pork shank, and when it's smoked or cured, it's known as ham hock. For Polish Golanka, the braising liquid typically includes beer, which lends the pork a pleasantly sour note that many of the other Polish foods on this list also possess. According to Polish housewife blogger Lois Britton, it's fantastic with a little sauerkraut, maybe some boiled potatoes, and roasted vegetables. It's a Polish classic. If you can find it, cook it.
I'll try it.
Potato pancakes supposedly owe their existence to a mass planting of potatoes in Poland and Ukraine during the 19th century. This made potatoes abundant and inexpensive, which led people to think of creative ways to substitute this tuber for other ingredients in their cooking. One example included swapping shredded potatoes for ricotta cheese and the cheese pancakes that had traditionally been enjoyed on the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. Not only did this catch on within the Polish Jewish community, it was also embraced by the general Polish population at large. If you haven't tried potato pancakes, you absolutely need to rectify that immediately. Simply grate a potato and an onion. While you drain them in a colander, beat together an egg, 2 tablespoons of flour, and a dash of salt and pepper. Fold in the potatoes and onions, form patties, and fry them to a crispy golden brown. Pancakes! Nalesniki is the Polish word for very thin, flexible pancakes that are meant to be rolled around a filling, whether sweet or savory. If that sounds like the beginning of a rolled French crepe to you, then you're on the right track. The difference is that in Poland, Nalesniki comprised the beginning not of crepes per se, but rather
I'm not
of
gonna lie, a lot of y'all sweet things over here is actually pretty damn good. Or looks good at some point. It looks really good.
Rolled like its French equivalent, the blintz is a thin and flexible pancake that's been rolled around a sweet or savory filling. However, the classic recipe for blintzes involves an extra step, which is pan-frying the rolled and stuffed pancake so that the filling becomes warm and melty, and the exterior develops a golden brown color. If you do decide to try this particular Polish food, be forewarned that it could leave you wondering why on earth the French don't pan-fry their crepes after they've been rolled.
What's up with that?
New York and bagels go together like Wisconsin and cheese. Despite that enduring association, this particular bread product's origins actually lie elsewhere. It turns out that the story of bagels can be traced back to Poland, specifically the city of Krakow. As legend has it, the first bagel was rolled in 1683 to resemble the Polish king's stirrup.
So the first bagel was made in Krakow. Huh. I wonder if there's anybody that watches my videos that's from Krakow.
However, as reported by Smithsonian Magazine, written records from Krakow indicate that bagels were being rolled, parboiled, and baked since at least as early as 1610. That appears to be the earliest written reference to this dense, chewy bread with a pleasantly crisp exterior. Today, an estimated 150,000 bagels are sold in Krakow alone every single day, whether in bakeries, shops, or even on street carts. Considering the bagel's current ubiquity, it's unlikely that we even need to convince you to indulge in this now classic Polish street food. But at least now you can tell yourself that you're doing it in the name of history and culture.
Wait a minute, what the fuck was that? Go. To anybody that's vegetarians out there, do y'all eat stuff like this? Well, obviously y'all probably do. This is in Poland, but is that radish and cottage cheese and what is all this? This one looks interesting. The rest of these, I'm gonna pass on that.
At least now you can tell yourself that you're doing it in the name of history and culture.
Oh, great. So much for bagels.
If you're a fan of eggnog, then you really need to know about the sweet and eggy Polish treat known as gogol-mogol. This dessert dates back to Poland and Russia's Jewish communities of the 1700s. It's creamy and drinkable, and its primary ingredients are egg yolks and sugar. Vanilla, cocoa, honey, and even alcoholic beverages may be added to enhance the experience.
Okay.
There is one primary difference between eggnog and its Central European cousin, and that is that eggnog contains milk and/or cream, whereas gogol-mogol does not. Since it avoids milk, which is a throat irritant for some people, gogol-mogol can be used not only as a delicious drinkable dessert treat, but also as a comforting remedy for a sore throat or a scratchy voice, especially when it's served warm. In fact, it's even been said that Barbra Streisand's mom gave it to her as a child in order to strengthen her vocal cords. Even in the off chance that nothing else in this roundup of Polish foods has you searching for authentic Polish restaurants near you, Karpatka may still change your mind. Seriously,
That
this one
actually
is a
looks really
major
good, too.
crowd pleaser that
It's
even
all
counted the
desserts that
late
look
Pope John
good. It
Paul
just-
II among its fans. Well, sort of. The Polish-born former head of the Catholic Church was known to have had a soft spot for a slightly fancier version of Karpatka that was known as kremówka, which has since been renamed papal cream cake in honor of the late pontiff. Kremówka consists of 2 layers of well-laminated puff pastry and a thick layer of smooth vanilla-flavored cream.
That's too much
Karpatka
cream,
is
though,
basically
for
the
me.
same thing as papal cream cake, except that the pastry layers consist of the far less work-intensive pâte à choux, which is a simple pastry dough that doesn't require the additional layering in of butter that pastry dough's lamination requires. And why is it called Karpatka? The top layer of pâte à choux develops delicate
too much
heat,
fucking cream
and when
right
they're
there,
dusted
man.
with
For
confectioner's
me, it's too
sugar,
much.
they're said to resemble the snow-covered Carpathian Mountains, which run through Poland and other parts of Central and Eastern Europe. Check out one of our newest videos right here.
All right. Yeah. You know what? That was pretty interesting. I don't want to say it's disgusting just because I never tried it before, but at the same time, as far as looks wise, desserts A1. Chef's kiss for real. But the rest of the food like that, duck blood soup, whatever the fuck that is, yeah, I might need a pass on that. Maybe it might be good. I don't know. All right, that was 25 Polish foods you need to try. Pretty interesting video, just like I said a couple seconds ago. Yeah, to anybody that lives in Poland, hit me up. Write it down in the comments if you live in Poland or not. I would love to tour again. Because I think I've been in Rzeszów one time, and that was it. I've been there for about a couple months. It's pretty nice over there. I would love to go back to Poland. But yeah, maybe I should do other countries though. Maybe next time I can do maybe Italy. What do you guys think? Leave it down there in the comments. I'm going to wrap things up here. If you guys want more stuff like this, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. Go ahead and grab your mouse. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you think about the video and or what I should do next. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I'm JJ Thomas, and I'll see you guys next time.